Welcome to Bandit's Keep Actual Play. I'm Daniel. Today we are continuing the Song of the Mapper. This is my solo original Dungeons & Dragons campaign using Outdoor Survival and Chainmail. We are catching up with the mappers, as it would be in this particular episode, with the two master mappers and kind of getting some of their mappers out in the field so we can get ourselves some treasure locations so we can get some parties out there. All right, welcome back to what is, I guess, officially, if you will, the first part of Series 3 of Song of a Mapper. Now, a Song of the Mapper. I don't even know the name of my own series. So, I don't actually split these up in different playlists or anything, but once a year or so, I kind of reset and rethink and decide how I want to move forward with this series. So, we finished up pretty late, the last part. Usually I do this at the beginning of the year, but, here we are at the end of April, and this is what's going on. And before I dig into how I might change things up with different parties and decide how I'm going to run the rest of the campaign, I decided to jump in and catch up on one other thing that's kind of outstanding, which is the mappers themselves. So this is called Song of the Mapper, after all. So the way this works is, if you're new here, is that basically we have master mappers. So we have Vonnie and Cedric, and they have mappers that go out into the field and seek out potential maps, basically maps to dungeons that have treasure, right? And then the parties buy them and go and get them. That's basically how this works. But what I do is, since there's other things moving around in the world, every month that a map kind of sits there that hasn't been bought by a player group, then there's a chance that somebody randomly just bought it. So since I haven't really been playing, there's actually these 4 maps that we generated in, there's 4 of them here, I know there is, in November, okay? And we're now at the end of April. So we've got December, January, February, March, April. It's 5 months. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll 5d6 for each of these maps. And if any of them comes out as a 1, then that means that that map has been sold. Now, in this case, all the maps are for Vonnie, and any potential profit from these maps will go to her. And we'll talk about that a little bit once I do this. So let's just roll these out first. Start with this map, 5d6. No 1s, so this map is still in play. How about this one? This map has been sold. Next map. This one's sold. Next map. And again, usually I will do this at the beginning. Oops, I only count if they go inside the box. We'll call that a 6. Okay, so both these maps are still available. So this one is a map that is protected by hill giants. It's a bunch of gold, basically, and some silver. This is a whole bunch of silver protected by goblins. Maybe that's why. Maybe they're just not that interesting. So the maps that did sell, though, are these 2. And what we do here is we look at this and we look at the value of the map. This is what it would have sold for. So 13.55 gold pieces and 14.45 gold pieces. That money, I have a little ledger on the back here. That money goes to Vonnie, and she also gains experience points from that. If she levels up, she's level 5 now, then she has more potential to recruit more mappers. That's basically how it works. The level of the master mapper is how many mappers they can have active at once. She currently has 3. She's got potential to have 2 more because she's 5th level. But if she levels up to level 6, then she can have an additional one. Cedric is on level 6. He could have a total of 6 mappers. He's got 3. So what I'm going to do is do her math, figure it out, and then I'm going to take either Cedric. Actually, I'll roll this now. 1 through 3, we're going to send Cedric's mappers out. 4, 5, or 6, we're going to send Vonnie's mappers out. Okay, so we're going to send out Cedric's 3 mappers. So I'll do him first. So any master mapper who does not have a complete group, oh, he only has 2, actually. He only has 2 mappers. Any master mapper who has potential for more mappers, right, but only, so in this case he has 2, he could have 6 total. Each month, on a roll of a 1, there's a chance that he recruits mappers. So again, we have 5 months have gone by. So I'm going to roll these 5 dice. And I'm going to see if there's any 1s. He has recruited from 1 to 6 mappers per 1 that we have here. No. So for whatever reason, Cedric's maybe a bad reputation. Maybe it's been slow. These 2 mappers are the only mappers that exist for Cedric, and they're both low-level mappers. So this is kind of interesting. What's happening with Cedric? You can kind of imagine in the world, if you were playing this out in a larger campaign that had player characters and stuff like this, or somebody who's running this, like you could have outside people running this, what's going on in the world that Cedric's not able to recruit mappers, right? If he ever reaches the level that he doesn't have any mappers, then he'll just keep trying until he gets some, right? And I have some rules that he can spend money to recruit more mappers, and he may actually do that if we don't get more. You know what? I'll do that. So the way this works is, if you don't automatically gain a mapper, you can gain one mapper by spending 1d6 times 100 gold pieces. So he's going to roll d6. Okay, so he gets an additional mapper rolling that one. So he's going to spend 100 gold pieces, which I'll subtract from his money that he has on the back here. And he's going to gain one more mapper, giving him 3 to start with. And I'll set up the board and I'll come back. What we're going to do here is we've got, as I noted, Cedric has these 2 mappers, but they picked up another one. So I don't make a card for or name a mapper until they've survived 1 session. So I've had some questions, both here in the comments and offline. Well, online, but not in YouTube. Because the last few times I've done this, I've done like 3 mappers at a time, and there's been some concern or questions about how this works. So for the first mapper, I'm going to do the unknown mapper by themselves first, and then I think I'll send out the 2 named mappers together, just for expedience. But basically, the process is as such. We're going to take 7 6-sided dice, and we're going to roll them. Okay? These dice now determine where the maps will be on the board. So as you can see here, I'm kind of sorting them. The board is broken up into 6 chunks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can see that there's 1 in chunk number 1. We've got 3 in number 2. Now, the reason why I have them upside down is because some of them are marked with letters and stuff. And if I encounter one of those, that's automatically magic and treasure. Whereas if they're plain, then I roll. Now, in number 4, we have 1. Number 4 is the worst. And we have 2 in number 5. So when I'm running multiple mappers, at the same time, I add a few extra ones just to make sure there's enough to go around. But for a single mapper, this is how I do it. Then, well, you can't see me. I put my hands on them, I close my eyes, and I just kind of move them around. And I have tried all kinds of different techniques, rolling and so on, to see for better ways to place these things. But honestly, they all kind of come out to be about the same. And there we go. Now, the final thing we do is we roll 1d6. And this is going to determine where the mapper comes in. 3. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, that's not good, actually. And 3 would be here, and then I'm going to say high or low. High, okay. So they come in the middle of this side. So this is going to be very, very difficult because this is a first level mapper, which means that the mapper is only has so much time they can spend in the field, and none of those maps are particularly close. So this mapper may not make it. So we'll see. So now what I do is I take a single die, because they're first level, and I put it on number 6. Okay? From here, we're effectively going to use a combination of the rules for outdoor survival, as we're doing it, and the rules for OD&D. That is to say, with OD&D, we're going to do the wandering monsters. Outdoor survival is going to include all of our movement. So, and let's just go. First, what we're going to do is we're going to start here. Actually, since I know that there's no way this mapper is going to get way down here, I'll just put this down here. They're probably going to go for this one. And the chances are they're not going to be able to get that one and get off the map unless they can refresh somehow. And again, that may not even be possible. But we're going to try it. Sometimes you lose a mapper, right? So the way we do this is we use effectively the search scenario from Outdoor Survival, which tells us that we roll a d6. We can see there on a 1 or a 2. We will go in one direction with no turns, must move maximum distance. 3, 4, 5, must move maximum direction, but can turn once. And 6, we can turn as many times as we want, and we can move less than maximum. Roll a d6. I'll put it here. We'll see it if I put it over there, right? Yeah. 5. Okay, so we can turn once. I don't know that I need to turn, so it's not going to matter. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, and our movement is 6, right? So 5 But the next, so crossing there only counts as 1. But I could turn or do whatever I want now, except for that there's no other place for me to move, because this takes 2 movement points, as does that, as does that, as does, these take 3. So basically I have to stop, even though I had 6 movements and it says I have to move all the way. That's as far as I can actually go. Now this is kind of good because I landed on water. So when we look at our supply down here, if we don't land on water or cross water, we roll and there's a chance we find water, but if not, it goes down 1. We did not cross food though, so that's going to go down 1. I'm also going to change this to a 5 because 1 day has gone by, and we're going to roll for a random monster. Now we are on a river, so there's an encounter on a 5 or a 6. 6, okay, there's an encounter. Fantastic. So on a river, we roll a d8. We get a 5. Swimmers, all right. We look at our swimmer table. It's right here. It's a d12. 5. Sea monster. Wonderful. Okay, so we run into a sea monster, or as it would be a river monster. And we're going to look on here. I feel like the sea monster is a little bit, yeah. Referee's discretion. Okay, well, I mean, again, I have to create this myself. Normally, if you're making a sea monster, you make your own sea monster. Let's keep it simple, and let's make it effectively like a Hydra, right? So a Hydra can be like, it's like a sea Hydra. That way we can just use the Hydra stats without getting too deeply into this. So a Hydra has between 5 and 12 heads, so we roll a d6. I'm sorry, a d8 plus 4. Only counts if it goes in the thing. 1. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, so that means that it is basically 5, which out of 12 is less than half. So now we look at our chart here, because the mapper always tries to evade. The mapper cannot really fight. So we are between 1 and 3. There's between 26 and 60% of them, so we have a 70% chance to evade them. Now, a Hydra's movement is 12, which is the same as ours. So there's no benefit or penalty to that. So we just have a straight 70% chance. Red is first. Oh, 8. Okay, we easily avoid them. So basically, it's sticking its head up, looking around. We avoid it. And if you succeed in evading, then you don't have to leave the hex. Because remember, hex is like 3 or 4 miles, or maybe 5 miles. So you just kind of avoid the Hydra. You move down the river, it goes the other way, we're good. And that ends day 1. Okay. Day 2. So what's interesting here is that, just looking at this, you could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No matter what I roll, I can do that, which I won't lose water, but that'll be 1 more day down then. 1, 2, 3, 4. And actually, it won't let me go this far because I'll hit the wall. So hopefully I get something where I can turn there, because I go 5, 6. I might be able to get back off the map. But that's 3 days. What I'm probably going to have to try to do is get to this house to recharge. And if I can't do that, then I'm very likely going to die. We'll talk about that when the time comes. Okay, so here we go. Roll a d6. 2. Well, that's the worst possible thing. But remember I said we want to go in a straight line anyways. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We end on water. So our water definitely doesn't go down. Our food does. This goes down to 4. We are in a forest, so we're going to roll for an encounter on a 5 or a 6. I believe in a forest, we'll just roll 6. We have an encounter. Okay. In the woods, 5 or 6 is an encounter. We roll to see what it is. Oh, you know what I didn't do there? That's okay, I'll skip it. I didn't roll to see if it was the Hydra's lair, which can be valuable to us. Okay, we get a flyer. This is like the worst possible thing to happen, but hey, such is life. So flyer, I think that's a d12 roll, yep. Maybe we'll get lucky and get like a Pegasus or something. 6. Manticores. Okay, this is not good. So effectively what's happened here is we have encountered Manticore. So we look at the list here, there can be from 1 to 4 of them. And because the way evasion works, we want to encounter more than less. So let's hope for a high number here. And we encounter 1. Okay. Wow, bad luck with this mapper. This is why we don't name them. 25% or less, we have a 50% chance to evade them. We add 25% because we're in the woods, but we subtract 25% because they're fast, more than twice as fast as us, I'm sure, because they are flyers, and flyers are always... Oh, no, actually, no. 18 is their speed. They are not twice as fast as us, so I misspoke. So basically, we have a 50% chance to evade them. We add 25% because we're in the woods. And I haven't been rolling for surprise, which I should be doing, but I often forget. So let me see if either side is surprised before we do any of this. On a 1 or a 2, yeah, we're surprised. So because we are surprised, we actually cannot evade them, and we have to effectively move 1 square in a random direction. So up in the corner there, we see a compass, 6. 6 is this way. So we move that 1 square, and when we do that, we didn't get food, we didn't get water because we're running. We move this down to 3, and it's not twice as fast as us, so there's no chance it'll catch us. I don't use that rule anyways for the mapper, but basically it will try to follow us, so we have to try to evade it again. Well, we didn't really try the first time. We have a 50% chance, which we fail, so we have to move 1 in a random direction. 4. So we go down to here. This goes down to 2. We did not find food. We did not find water, so we actually dropped 2 life levels. So we changed our guy to C, and now our movement's only 5. And we see now if we can avoid the Manticore. Again, we still have a 50% chance. We're still in the woods. 56. We do not avoid the Manticore. So again, we move 1 in a random direction. 5. Which actually we move onto the map, which is funny. Which would be good, I guess, if we can, but we're going to die, so it's not going to matter. We didn't find water. We didn't find food. This goes down to 1. We roll to try to avoid the Manticore. Again, 50% chance. 84, we do not. Okay, so here's what's happening. We have to move once again in a random direction. 4. We move this way, 1 hex. Okay? This is eliminated, right? 1 goes to nothing. Our mapper is lost in the wilderness, and that's the end of that mapper. So effectively, that is the end of that particular session of the mapper, and we're going to reset where all the maps are, and we're going to put our other guys back out on the board. You know, because we didn't get that successful on this one, I think what I might end up doing is just do all 3 of these guys separately because they were pretty fast. So let me clear this off, and we'll reset. If you've been enjoying these actual plays, please do take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, do all the good YouTube stuff. Also check the description. You'll find links to most of the things I use in these videos and a link to my Discord server if you want to join the conversation. Talk to you soon.